You know, everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants to be rich. I mean, right now, it's things I want to do that I really don't really have the money to do it. You know what I mean? But I stay positive. I don't worry. You know what I mean? I know that, that my time is coming. I always think that way, right? Because, you ever been into a nightclub? You know what I mean? You always hear talking about making it rain, making it rain. Well, in this club of life, God can make it rain. God can make it rain. And I know that as long as I keep on riding with him, then the door is always open. So I don't worry. I don't worry. And this time it's been 37 cents, in the account. But I don't worry. I don't worry because God can make it rain. God can make it rain. And, knowing that is a certain sense of satisfaction, right? And if I come up with an idea, something that I want to do, something I want to build, and the same thing with you. It's an idea that you really, really believe in, you really believe could, change your life or be, or make, make the world a better place. Then, you got to always don't think about the money aspect as much as, the planning, putting into effect, and getting it started. You got to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. And in this club of life, God can make it rain. God can make it rain. And usually when we show God how bad we want something, really put in the work, he usually will take it from there. And you find all of a sudden things that happen in your life you never anticipated. All of a sudden you getting the top-notch job you wanted, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, certain resources are coming to you that you may have never enjoyed. You know what I mean? Is you just don't know, but one thing about it, you gotta start somewhere. And yes, I know we all want to have great wealth, and I know that for some they chase fame. They chase fame. Not knocking. Hey, everybody got their thing. You know what I mean? But when it just come down to, I do know, and I do not believe that we were brought on this earth to suffer. I don't believe in that. I don't. I know we do. I know we go through things. I know we, have our rough times. I know we go, have our struggles and things of that nature. I can tell you all about that at a front row seat, having it, here and there now, But at the same time, though, if we know that in this club called life, God can make it rain, that's got to be some sense of comfort. You got to give him something to work with, all right? You got to give him something to work with. It's just like blessings. I truly believe that when it come down to blessings, there's so many blessings. It's like a big, canisters. I mean, like a can is so huge, a number of blessings just for you. Just with our names on them, you know what I mean? And it's so many blessings could last a lifetime. But, you just can't go give blessings that's going to be thrown in the real trash can, right? Why would you give some blessings and it's going to get thrown in the real trash can? It won't do that. It won't do that because we got to prove ourselves. We got to, what I mean by that is we just got to believe. And I think believing is a lot easier, even in the roughest times. It's easier to believe than to keep trying all these human ideas we have that are not on track for who we are. You know what I mean? And when it comes down to, financial wealth and things of that nature, we're better off having patience, and I think believing that God is going to be there for us and going to carry us the rest of the way on our genuine ideas, then sometimes allowing ourselves to get put in positions that, we don't sometimes come back from, you know what I mean? And that's no judgment, it's nothing like that. We human beings, and it's hard sometimes. It is hard sometimes, you know. And I know that when the pressure really builds up, you know, on a human being, when it really gets to a point that human beings get to the point when they might even give up, then, you know, that's when opportunities come for those negative energies to get involved and try to put ideas in our head and get us to doing things and all these different things, and we have to fight and say, no, I'm gonna ride this thing out. I'm gonna ride this thing. I'm gonna ride this God thing out. You know, I'm gonna go it on and ride with Him, who's not human like me, got more power than me. You know, sees everything better than me, and who's been feeding, clothing, and riding me all the way up to this point, even in my hardest times. I'm gonna ride with Him. I'm gonna ride with Him. And again, in this club called life, God can make it rain. God can make it rain. I'll guarantee you that if you talk to someone who you might see maybe on the street corner with a sign, that they would tell you there was at least one time in their life that God made it rain. At least one time in their life, if not more than once, God had made it rain. Yeah, we might, you know, human beings, we might find ourselves down certain paths, might find ourselves in certain scenarios, after the fact. But at least once in all of our lifetimes, most of us, and I can't, I'm just a human being myself, but just knowing how He rolled, make it rain at least once. You know what I mean? It might not be $1 million, you know. Well, you know, that's a high number, but you know what I mean, though, figuratively speaking. And times we could have made a choice, made some decisions, said, okay, well, it's our budget and how we went about, you know, handling that wealth, you know, that opportunity. And I look back on a lot of opportunities, and I was like, oh man, I wish I'd have done this. I wish I'd have done that. I wish I'd have done A, B, and C. You know what I mean? But sometimes it could be like, you know, in my case, my background, you know, could be a scenario too of just, you know, knowledge. You know what I mean? Could be, it's a lot of things that could be involved in, and why we didn't go this direction and decide to go that direction. And now here we are back at the start, you know, back at the starting block, you know what I mean? But we have to really take time to really think about it and say, okay, well, I believe God is going to make it rain again in my life. You know what I mean? It was just one time He's going to make it rain again, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, we don't know. But I want to be ready. And this time I'm going to do A, B, and C. I'm going to handle it a different way. And I think that's when those blessings start to come our way again. And they just keep pouring. And the more we learn and show we have learned and we're growing with every blessing, the blessings just get bigger and bigger and bigger. I truly believe that. And I'm at a point for myself, you know, where I'm trying to get these blessings. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get them by the bucket loads. You know what I mean? If it's so many blessings for each one of us that we can never get them all in a lifetime. I need to get all the ones I missed out on, all the ones I messed up and did, you know, blocked, all the ones that got blocked by, you know, outside sources, you know what I mean? And I need them. I got to get my blessings. I'm all about trying to get these blessings. And just keep in mind that anytime it seems like, you know, all else fails, in this club called life, God can make it rain. Can make it rain. But we gotta let Him know, show Him that we believe, and then give Him something to work with. Give Him something to work with. Give Him, you know, something to work with. You know, if you go to the bank and say, hey, I need you to finance, what's the first thing they ask you for? Collateral. Okay, that's well one thing. What if I don't have no collateral? But a sound business plan and you done went out and picked out the spot you want to do it in. You know you're gonna get your equipment from, where you're gonna get your, all of the things that you need. You got it. You got your budget set. That's collateral. That's collateral. And a lot of people that we think of as so wealthy, that's all they go in with. They don't go in with no material wealth. They go in with a plan. And the bank say, you know what? I believe you can make money with this plan. I like you done laid out all across, all the T's, dotted all the I's. I like this plan. Approve. Stamped approval. And God is the same way. We come in, I think when we put our plan out there and we do our thing and show God how bad we wanted and give him our collateral by the efforts and by us believing, he's gonna stamp approval. In this club called life, God can make it rain. God can make it rain. And I always think about, that 37 cents. I always think about times when hey, woo, you know what I mean? I think about it. And so I'm always thinking about a plan. I'm always thinking about, trying to get God a plan. And so that's generally, how I try to do things. So, but I just wanted to put that out there. Had a little glitch right there. But yeah, I just want to put that out there that in the end, when it really comes down to it, God, in this club called life, God can make it rain. And I really, truly hope you believe that, because I definitely do. And as I'm saying it right now, I know you hear me. I'll let you later.